One of the biggest questions I hear from artists today is, how do I find fans? And the crazy thing about this question is that we live in a world where vanity metrics have taken over. So if you pay attention to people's Spotify numbers, their Instagram numbers, their YouTube numbers, you'll say, oh my God, he must have tons of fans because he has a million plays, a million followers. But the crazy thing about this is that a lot of times those artists can't find those fans specifically and actually make them turn over to actual revenue, which would be buying tickets or merch or whatnot. So what happens is they don't come to shows. So to me, what I call fans are people who actually spend money on you, and they'll actually come to your show, spend money, and come see you. And the problem with this is we start pointing towards vanity metrics all the time, and then we never really turn them over into fans. We just go like, oh my God, I got 1,000 plays. I got 10,000, I got 20,000 plays. And it actually never turns over into money. To me, over my career, I'd always believed that whether I just have 100 followers, if my 100 followers are consistently tapped into me and coming to my shows and everything like that, then I can tell how much money I'm able to make over that year and how much content I need to make to keep them excited and how much stuff I need to do to keep them happy to be my fan and be my consumer. So what we talk about is, first off, is fans to followers. And as I said, fans are people who will spend money on you. Followers are people who just entertained by you. They just want to see what you're doing next. Maybe you wear something dope, or maybe you talk some type of way, or maybe you like dogs like they do, whatever that is. Those people just follow you. They just put eyes on you. So sometimes you'll see these artists with 1 million followers, and it's just people that just want to see what they do. Like you see these artists, they'll do like dumb things and crazy things and like do stuff to get into the news, and then they can't turn that over into actual money because people don't come to your shows after that. So you have to have people that come to your shows consistently. So they might get this like excitement for one point in time, and then it just slowly dies down, and then you never hear from them again. It's because they did it just for the followers, and those people weren't actually fans. Those people were just there to see that part of them for that moment in time, and then they leave. So once you can separate who are your fans and who are your followers, who are these people that are going to buy tickets from you when you come to their city? Who's going to do that? Who's going to do that first, and then after that, who's going to purchase maybe a hat or maybe a shirt or whatnot? Now, in the past, you were able to do metrics like this based off of the actual music because you had CDs at the time and you had tapes at one point. So then you could tell that this person was a fan because they'd actually purchased a CD from you. And that's all you had to do. But now that the music is basically free because it's on Spotify and it's being streamed and it's everywhere, now you can't make that judgment of saying that, hey, these are my actual fans because they listen to the music. They might be there because of a playlist. They might be there because the homie sent it to them. They might be there for whatever reason. And it doesn't mean that they are actually there to be like, hey, I'm a fan of this person. If they come here, I'm going to go see them. So now when you separate who those are, who are these people that'll spend $100 on you? That's what you're asking yourself. And a lot of people will start with their first show and they have like maybe let's say 20, 30 people, whatever like that. But a lot of times this is friends and family. So what I say is you need 100 fans total. 100 fans is what you need to start your career. And the reason I say this is you need 100 fans per city, because around 100 fans, you're basically worth around $500 at that time to come out. And that fits into my formula with what I do with concert, as you see the queue in the back. Is you're basically worth $500 at 100 fans. So 100, 150 fans, you're like right around $500 to $1,000 a night. And that's how you can start telling yourself, hey, this is how much I'm worth as an artist, and this is how I can move forward. So they say, how do I get to these 100 fans? Now, as I said, people will have friends and family, and this is the questionable group of fans because they're there to just support you. They're not really a fan of the music. They're there to support you. They love you for whatever you do, so they're going to support, and they're only there for a short time span. So let's say, I like to always say people start off with 15 fans because it's their family and their friends or their coworkers or whatever like that. So I start them off at 15. And 15 people right now that you can have come to a show and support you and do all that. They're going to pay for a ticket. They're probably going to buy merch and stuff just to support you. They're not doing it because they just are a fan of you. They're doing it because they support you. So with those 15 people, you're using them as leverage to gain the next few fans. So now if I go to a show and I bring 15 people, I'm hoping that those 15 people are so contagious, they're so excited to see me, that becomes contagious to the other people in the building. If it's another 100 people in the building and my 15 are here, I hope they look at that 15 people and they go, man, who is this? If they're so excited about him, let me see what he's about. And that's how you start slowly turn over one fan to the next fan. So now when you go into the crowd and your 15 people are all excited to see you, then you start talking to more people because they're going to be excited because these 15 people are excited. So they're going to start coming up to you like, oh my God, like that was dope what you did and stuff like that. And that's when you start turning them into fans. That's when you start getting phone numbers. That's when you start getting emails. That's when you start getting IGs and everything like that. And you start labeling who they are and where they're at. If it's like, hey, I meant, Tony in Denver. I meant Keisha in Denver. However you're doing it, you're writing it down so you have a contact to them. So the next time they come out, they're ready to come see you again because they loved what they seen this first time. Now, with that idea, the reason I say it's easier to turn people within shows versus just on the internet is because people who are already consumers of independent music that are willing to come out and spend $15, $20 to come see an artist, they're already willing to be your fan too, because they're already in the market to where they're spending money for independent music and they want to come see independent music and they want to come enjoy independent music. So then you have a higher chance of turning them over and knowing that they're a fan and that they're willing to do this. Sometimes you find people on the internet and they may not be ready to be like, I'm going to spend this money. They might rather go see a famous artist. So then they are like, okay, well, you have to turn them over even further to make them want to come see an independent act, or what's the reason they want to come to this side of town, or however. So when you're there and you get your 15 fans to turn over a couple more, that's what you're hoping for. You're hoping your 15 fans, and see, as I said, with family, they're only going to be around for so long. So you're using them for leverage because you probably have 3 to 5 shows to where you can actually make them want to come all the time. After 5 shows, people have lives. People start going like, well, I've seen this. You know what I'm saying? People start doing whatever. So you have about 3 to 5 shows to use them for your leverage. And you're using them for them leverage so they can get you another 5 people, another 10 people, another 20 people to connect when they see your 15 people going crazy. As you're doing this, you're just replicating this idea to say, I'm going for 15 to 30. At 30, you're pretty much at a space that you're like what I call an official opener at that time. Like you're an official opener. You're able to come to any show, bring enough acts, and do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Bring enough fans to do what you do. That'll get you to 30. Now, as you're doing that and you're using the leverage of your 15 plus your new 15, now you're going to try to get more and keep getting yourself to around 50. 50 is the next spot because with 50, if you really have 50 fans, you can probably open for any big national show in whatever state you're in currently. When you really have 50 fans, people know you can sell to 50 people. So then they know you can be an opener for almost anything that's inside of probably 1,000 seaters. 1,000 seaters and down, a lot of shows will allow you to open for them if you really did have 50 fans. If you really could sell 50 tickets. So then when you're sitting at the 50, in my formula, I'm willing to allow you to headline. So that's what that looks like. I'm ready for you to headline at 50. Because people who are at 50 are at that space where they need that extra push to get to the next level. And that's where your career starts. So at 50, you're starting to get that headline name so people can go like, oh, this is who this person is. They already headlined. They're just like I wanted to make it so they're comparative to what these nationals look like. So then if you have a headliner just like another person has a headliner and you're headlining a building that another national is headlining, then you look similar. So then what happens to your fans is they start believing it because that's just natural, like just the ambiance of it. If you have a headliner just like this person has a headliner, what makes anything different? So then now this is where you get your promotion to get pushed to being a headliner. And at 50, as I said, when you go to a bigger show and you do a national show and you have 50 fans in the room, 50 fans are super contagious. 50 people anywhere chanting anything or loving something will make an entire crowd turn around because 50 people are a lot of people to make them go do anything you want them to do. And they'll make everyone else want to join in because naturally people go like, oh, I need to be a part of this. Once they see it, they're like, I need to be a part of this, and I need to, sing the song, or I need to chant with them because 50 people is a lot of people. Now, once you start using that, then you're using your headliner status at this point to try to make it so you can get to the 100. And the leverage of that is that now that you're a headliner, you'll probably be known in your city as one of the top people. So people will look for you to be like, this is one of the top dudes out here. So then at that point, your leverage then becomes, look what I've done. I've already done this. I've headlined this place. I've headlined these places. I've done these shows. And you have that resume so you can take it anywhere and people will believe that you're a serious artist at this point. They'll start believing like, oh, this person takes this seriously and this is their life. So at 50 fans, that's what you're taking everywhere and you're leveraging it. And then people will easily start believing you further to get you to that 100. Now, the reason I say at 100, like at 100 you start your career, is because of that worth of being at like $500 and then moving to 150 where you probably worth around $1,000 a night. And that's what you want per city because you want to replicate that in other cities. And then when you get to enough cities that's that you can live off of that amount of money, then that's how you start living off of it consistently. But start at the bottom. Start at the bottom. Who's the first 15 people? Who's the first 15 people that is your family and your friends that you can get out to use them as leverage so you can start gaining new fans? Who are those 15 people that are going to support you either way? And those people, you have to make them want to be there to be like, okay, I'm going to get excited so everyone else feels this and it's contagious and it starts moving around the room. When you do that and you start getting to people who know you for just your music, those people are dedicated fans because they're not like family. They're not just there to support you just because you're you. They're there because, hey, I know this rapper or this singer or whoever, whatever you do, they're there for that. And so when they're fans like that, they're tied to that. And then they become like close to that idea or the persona you've created or the music you've created, the pieces you've created. That's what you want them to be connected to because they'll naturally then just enjoy themselves every time they come out. Every time they come out, they'll cheer, they'll chant, they'll do everything you need to do to build more fan base. And then as you start going into the crowd and figuring out names and phone numbers, make sure you keep lists of them. You want to keep sheets of these people's names and numbers. So every time you come to that city or every time you have a show, you're able to contact them and be like, hey, I'm coming in. I'm going to be rocking on this date and I'm going to be doing this. And then with some of them, you might have to give like some discounts because they didn't came to 2 shows already. So you're keeping them excited. Maybe you give them a shirt. Maybe you give them different things. You know what I'm saying? They get to take a picture. They get to go kick it with you somewhere. Whatever that is to keep those fans around, which I'll talk to you about in a different video later. But make sure you start at that ground roots. Those 15 fans, you start replicating, and that's the goal of how you can get fans.